Hey everybody, it's Kelly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask a Therapist. So today we are talking about toxic femininity and purity culture. You've heard a lot, I assume, about toxic masculinity, but today we're talking about the feminine kind. Before we can have that conversation, we need to be really specific about the things we are talking about. So if you have missed the video on purity culture, check it out in the description box below. You can definitely watch that. There's a couple of them, actually. I'll just link them all. I would encourage you to check those out so you understand where I'm coming from on purity culture. Femininity is an attribute that to some people is to be achieved in order for you to fulfill your purpose as a woman. I think I threw up a little bit in my mouth. Purity culture has created this idea of femininity, and it is toxic to the development of young girls in our world today. Why is that? I'm glad you asked that question. Femininity in itself isn't bad. The word pure in itself is not bad. In doing research for this video, I found a website, a conservative Christian website. And on this website, it defined feminine as the following. To be feminine, you must be not aggressive. You must be dependent. You are easily influenced. You're submissive. You're passive. You're home-oriented. Because what feminine woman wants to work outside the home? You're easily hurt emotionally. You're indecisive. You're talkative. You're gentle. You're sensitive, and this is super fun, very desirous of security. You're emotional. You're very verbal, which I don't know how that's different from talkative. You're nurturing. You're kind, and you are tactful. For reasons I'll get into later, that last one is one of my favorites. Most of these attributes do not sound bad in and of themselves. However, the assumption within purity culture is that these attributes of femininity are to be strived for. They are your goals, and you're expected to hit your goals. If you don't, there's something wrong with you. So if you do not achieve that list of things, there's something wrong with you. Another website I found had an advertisement from the 60s that says feminine women keep their, and then different physical attributes and how you should keep them. So your hair must be soft, neat, and lustrous. Your skin has to be clear and hydrated. Your makeup should accentuate your features, and your nails should be minimal and tidy. Your clothing should complement your figure. Who's deciding this? Hold on. Who's deciding what complements your figure and what doesn't? Because it shouldn't be anyone except for you. Your aesthetic can be glam, can be minimal, can be tailored. All of those. Have fun, play. But it must always be feminine. I don't know what that means. You can't use a word to define a word. And your attitude, it just says high value. Now, the second one that I read is clearly dated. The first one I read is not. The first one I read is a current list of things on a specific Christian website that is being expected of teens and young women as their goal. The problem is there's no option for what you are if you don't achieve the goal. It's either the door's open or the door's closed, right? You're either feminine or you're not. And if you're not, you are not acceptable. So picture this, or maybe you don't have to picture this because if you're watching this video, you probably did this. You are growing up in a church culture that expects these things of you, but that's not how you are. That's not who you are. Maybe your hair looks different from how people expect it to. Maybe you would rather play in the dirt or play on a sports team. The expectation, though, of all of these things that are in that first list, the expectation is that you do that in order to get a man, because your worth is in your ability to acquire, intrigue, to lock down, and to keep your man. That's it. That's your goal. The purpose of femininity is to make your man comfortable, to make your man happy. What about you? If your only ability in making yourself happy lies in whether or not you make someone else happy, you will never be happy, because your happiness has to come from the inside. If if you are looking to other people to complete you, if you're looking to other people to show your value, you will never feel the fulfillment inside that happens when you self-actualize and know your own worth. And that's what I want for you. Anybody watching this video, I want you to know your own worth, and to know your own worth is worth it. It's not about how other people see you. It shouldn't be. When we are younger, we are all developmentally looking at other people, seeing how they respond to us and how they look at us, how they act when we are loud or when we are quiet. That's how we develop our first understanding of ourselves, independent of other people. Developmentally, that's appropriate. The problem is that list of things is continued to be expected of women as they get older. It's still expected that they don't take up space, at least not the space that's meant for men. It's still expected that they don't demand things. It's expected that they're tactful. Let's get into this one, right? Tactful. Tactful, all tactful means is you didn't piss me off. That's it. Think about times that you've called someone tactful. It's because they told you something you didn't want to hear, but it didn't piss you off. What? If someone is already offended by a woman taking up space or speaking her mind or having her own experience, they're going to get pissed off at anything she says. It doesn't matter. So she's already lost that battle. She already can't be tactful, because tactful means you don't bother the status quo. You don't make too much commotion. You don't take up the space given to you as a human being. But you know what? You need to take up that space. That's a lesson I have had to learn for myself over and over and over again, because I spent so much time in purity culture. That toxic idea of the fact that if I'm just quiet enough or demure enough or pretty enough or helpful enough, sensitive enough, if I care for other people's needs enough, I will be enough. But your enoughness, it's not in what you do, it's in you existing as a human. How you exist as a human is actually enough. You are enough. And I've had enough of people telling women that they're not. Because this attitude comes from the idea that if you keep moving and you keep working and you keep trying, you will be accepted. God will see you as good and you'll win? Is there winning in life? I don't think there's winning. I think there's loving. I think there's living, but there's no winning. What are we trying to prove here? What is purity culture trying to prove? That they can take an entire group of women and make them so turned around about being accepted and being desired by men that they'll stop them from understanding that they have power and they have passion and they have a say in their lives? Don't get me wrong, I don't think in general that most people who subscribed to purity culture were intending to send that message. But we have decades of damage done to women because of this expectation of this unrealistic goal of femininity. Femininity should be defined as what a female possesses. That's it. And whatever that looks like for you is what it looks like for you. It doesn't look the same for me. It won't look the same for me. Happiness doesn't look the same for all of us. Love doesn't look the same for all of us. Anger, frustration, sadness, we don't do any of that the same. Why would we do this the same? Why does the thing you are judged on have to be so external and so interpretable? You are enough. You get to choose who you are. If you subscribe to these qualities and that fulfills you, awesome. That doesn't mean it fulfills everyone else. And the expectation that it does is honestly very short-sighted of the church, of purity culture, of anyone who expects that all women should subscribe to this list of attributes and no other. You don't have to try to deserve space. You have to try to deserve to be who you are. You just do because you're you. That's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please make sure you subscribe. I will see you all next week. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.